So we have some breaking news out of the UK. The first flight that was set to take asylum seekers to Rwanda under this new plan, they've just stopped it. Right, here's from the BBC. They say Rwanda asylum flight cancelled. And this is, of course, as we were just saying, after an intervention from the European Court of Human Rights. Now, again, the UK, this has nothing to do with the EU, okay? Some people think, well, what's that got to do with Britain? Britain left the EU. This is a separate body, okay? The European Court of Human Rights is a separate body, and the EU, the UK is a signatory, and its decisions do have an impact, obviously. So, Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, the one who's been pushing for all this, right? The architect behind this and many other lovely plans. She said that she was disappointed, but that she is making preparations for the next flights already. So they were set to take 7 people to Rwanda. One of them is an Iraqi. I saw some people from Iran, Albania. The Albanian the person said that they were trafficked. And that if they return to Albania, they'll be killed by these traffickers. And, you know, they basically said, what's an Albanian man doing in Africa? Why are you taking me there? I came to the UK to seek refuge. And, you know, I've done several videos about this Rwanda refugee scheme. It's completely, not just morally reprehensible, it's illegal. The United Kingdom is a signatory of the Refugee Convention. You can't just sign something and then say you don't want to obey it, because, you know, you don't like the agreement that you helped author. I should add, right? So, you know, the law is very clear. The Refugee Convention is very clear. You are supposed to take in applicants, asylum seekers, assess their situation, whether they're fleeing war or political persecution, whatever it may be, and then, if you find that they have, you know, reasonable grounds to be considered a refugee, you give them refugee status. End of story. But what the UK is trying to do now is ship this off, outsource this entire process to Rwanda. And I want to show you here's a video from Boris Johnson. This was just yesterday when he was talking about this.
We always said that this was going to be a long process. If you remember when I first announced the policy, I said it would take a long time to get going. There would be plenty of legal challenges, there would be bumps on the road. But I think what opponents of the policy have to say is, well, what is your alternative? What is your alternative to people being shipped across the channel in very frail, unseaworthy dinghies, risking their lives and undermining the rule of law? What's your alternative? We think it's a sensible partnership we've set up with Rwanda. Yes, it may take a while.
Again, here's an alternative, which is not really an alternative. This is what you should have been doing from the first place. You're supposed to give refugees or asylum seekers safe and legal routes. The only reason that people are risking their lives crossing the Mediterranean or the Channel in a rubber dinghy is because you are forcing them to. The law is very clear. You have to be on British soil to make an application. You cannot walk into a British embassy, you know, anywhere you like. You cannot phone up the Queen and say, please grant me refugee status. You have to be on British soil. So how do you get to British soil? If the British government is refusing to set up a safe and legal route, meaning a body and any sort of administrative process where they can fly you in so you're on British soil, so you can make the application, then they are making sure that you risk your life. Do you understand? I can assure you something, man. Refugees, especially, you know, refugees that have been through war, who are pushed, you know, they're driven to such a situation that they have to make the decision to cross the channel in a rubber dinghy. They're not doing it because they enjoy it. Yeah? I think it's really insensitive to think that people are doing that for fun and then to ship them off wherever you like to try and outsource your responsibilities. This is disgusting and it's illegal. Remember, the United Kingdom signed the Refugee Convention. It helped author it. It needs to follow it, not just make up random decisions. He's even saying that the laws have to be changed. Yeah, so you know it's illegal then, right? Let me tell you, and I've covered the Australian system as well. This scheme here, this oh, let's ship refugees and asylum seekers off to Rwanda. This is taken from the Australians, right? The Australians, they had what they call offshore detention centers, which is a nice, phrase to describe a camp. They had these outside Australia. So, you had people coming to Australia saying, please help, give me refuge. And then they would send them to Papua New Guinea, or they would send them to Nauru, right? Nauru is an island nation. It's not exactly, but almost in the middle of the Pacific, right? Thousands of kilometers away. These people didn't come to seek asylum in Nauru, nor in Papua New Guinea. Just to show you the hypocrisy, the British government, all of a sudden, they're saying, oh, Rwanda is a viable alternative and these people can rebuild their lives there and everything is rosy and lovey-dovey. And just a year ago, they were saying, we are concerned about the human rights abuses and blah, blah, blah. On a whim, they just change their opinions about countries when it suits them, when there's some dinero involved. And so with Australia, I interviewed 2 refugees right here on the channel. Go watch the video I did about Australia's Guantanamo Bay. That's how I titled the video, because those camps were described as Australia's Guantanamo Bay. People were not referred to by names, they're referred to by numbers, completely dehumanizing. And I want to show you, I want to tell you something that is shocking. The staff who work in these camps, in these offshore detention camps, they were forbidden from staying on the island for more than 3 weeks. They would tell them, you have to leave the island after 3 weeks because it's not good for you mentally to be out here this long, right? So ask yourself, if it's not good enough for the staff, why is it good enough for the refugees who are not only spending weeks, months, years, literally years in camps? What is that? You know why they're spending years on camps? Because there's money involved. The prices, the figures that they have spent on, if you count this per refugee, per person, it's astronomical. We're literally talking in the millions. You could have bought them a fucking house for that money. You could have bought them a house, a mansion, I should say, for that money. But they're not interested in that, are they? They're interested in making money for their friends in the private sector, right? So they have friends, they have buddies who run these camps or provide services that these camps require, whatever it may be. There's lots of schemes. And then, of course, they push the people in government, they push their friends in government to enact this legislation so that they can benefit and make money. Literally hundreds of millions of dollars over the years, right? And the people that I interviewed, Tanus and Mahdi, right here is the video on the channel. They were in detention, respectively, 7 and 9 years. Can you imagine? It's like a prison sentence. Almost like a prison sentence. For what? What's the point of that? No, what's the point? Money. That's what it's about. It's disgusting corruption. And, I have a feeling, I have a strong feeling that there's also some sort of financial incentive behind what's going on right now with this Rwanda scheme. And even if there weren't, I mean, this is an afterthought. It's the point, it's the principle that you should not be punishing asylum seekers under the pretext of punishing traffickers. Because what they come and tell you is, we want to stop the smugglers. The Australians said this and the British are saying this. Oh, we want to stop the smugglers, right? You will never make Australia home. That's quite brutal. Which one is it? Do you want to stop the smugglers making money, or you just want to stop people from making Australia home? What's wrong with them making Australia home if they're refugees? Again, they don't get to decide if they're refugees. The UK government, the British government, decides whether someone is a refugee. The Australian government, they decide. They are the ones that assess the applications. And they have found these people to be genuine refugees. So why are they punishing them for being refugees? That makes no sense to me. It's just evil. So, they basically appeal to whatever voter base they have and try to frame it as some sort of like border security issue, or that they are punishing the smugglers. They want to cut revenue. No, dude. People are still going to come and cross the channel in the dinghies. So the quote-unquote smugglers and traffickers are making money. They're still making money either way. It's just that afterwards, your friends are also making money because you're going to send the refugees to Rwanda. You left that part out. So that's not cutting back on anything. Like I said, if you actually want to stop people coming in rubber dinghies, you have to set up a safe and legal route. Why is this such an issue? You're spending money to deal with this problem, right? So why not spend less money and actually fix it and save people's lives on top of it, right? Instead of people having to risk drowning. Why? Why do you continue to keep this system in place? You know, by sending refugees to Rwanda, people are still going to drown and still try to cross the channel. And the smugglers are still going to make money. So please tell me how you fix this issue. You're just punishing refugees. And mind you, the twisted, sick tragedy of this is that the UK helped create many of these refugees in the first place, either through war or economic warfare, which is, sanctions. And they're, one is just as bad as the other. So very, sick, disgusting irony. And the fact that this has gone through the British courts and all these judges found this to be humane and in compliance with the Refugee Convention. I mean, this is shocking. Shocking, really shocking. Keep in mind, just because they stopped one plane doesn't mean the system is going away. It's not going away. Patel herself is saying that she's making preparations for the next flights. Why don't you make preparations to actually stop people drowning, huh? Why don't you make preparations to provide a safe and legal route? There is not one safe and legal route. None. The British government is telling refugees, you have to be on British soil to make an application, but we are going to make sure there's no way you can get on British soil except risking drowning in a rubber dinghy on the channel. Well done. Very humane and organized.